anyway.
Happy Friday afternoon. Jay Coulter here with Ross Marino. Conferences are back in session. We're going to walk through 5 conferences that we think financial advisors should pay attention to this fall. Ross Marino, how was your summer?
It was great. Kids are back at school now, ready to get back to work and head to some conferences.
Excellent. I love it. All right, let's get right to it. This show is sponsored by the Independence Incubator from Resilient Advisor. If you're considering the path to independence, visit independenceincubator.com to learn more about the services we provide for advisors looking to make the break. Ross, first conference, the granddaddy of the fall, FutureProof, starts next week. If people want to learn more about that conference, you can visit futureproof.advisorcircle.com. What are your thoughts on this conference?
I was excited about it. We have a couple people from our team that are on their way out there right now, a couple from our practice, and it's just a great concept. When you look at conferences, content is important, and any conference can create a great list of sessions and topics, but how you put it together, what you do with the experience, that's what really makes a good conference great. I think FutureProof is trying some new things here. They're turning it into a festival, as they call it. And just based on what I see, I think it's going to be a killer conference.
Yeah, it's going to be a who's who from Twitter and the rest of the financial services space. The content looks different. The deliverable looks different. And I'm looking forward to hearing the feedback from your team on what they've done with that program. All right, so the next conference, Ross, you're probably not as familiar with it as I am, but it is the Web3Expo. This is a group of folks who have put together a conference focused solely on Web3. And the reason I find this concept interesting is I don't know much about it. And the simple fact that I don't know a lot about it really piques my curiosity because, gosh, imagine if I'd gone to a Bitcoin conference in 2009, 2010. So it's being hosted by an all-star team of conference organizers. It's going to be at the Wynn, October 10th through the 13th. They also have a who's who of speakers that are going to be there, in addition to having the platform at the Wynn where you can host an incredible conference. Ross, what are your thoughts on this conference?
Well, first, I love the Wynn. I think it's a fantastic property. That's a week before one of our conferences. If it wasn't, I may consider going. I love what Web3 is. I've spent way too much time reading about it. It doesn't really apply to what I do as a financial planner or hosting conferences, but this shift from Web 2 to Web 3, where people actually have ownership, and the metaverse, which is a real thing, companies are plowing billions of dollars into this. So it's a great time for someone to figure out what's going on, what Web 3 really means. It's not a gimmick. It's not a phase. It's actually the evolution of technology and how we're going to interact in the digital world. So I think that would be an awesome conference to attend.
Yeah, and some of the speakers, Kevin O'Leary and Mark Yusko from our industry, very, very well-known brand experts on this space. And then, it doesn't stink to go to Las Vegas in October generally.
It's a great time to be out there. And again, the Wynn is just a great property. But looking at that list of speakers, those are people that they know what's going on with Web3. They understand the digital world and they understand where that industry is going. I'm sure it's going to be a cool one.
Yep, without a doubt. To learn more about that conference, visit web3expo.live. If you would like a code for a discounted ticket, shoot me a message on any of the social media platforms. I think they gave me a code. It's not an affiliate link, but it can get you a discount on those tickets. Again, web3expo.live. So, Ross, the next conference is one that I'm a huge fan of. I spoke at last year. They are doing a lot of good by serving advisors, serving the fintech community, and giving money to charities in the process. It's a virtual conference called Advice Tech Live, really spearheaded by the folks over at Asset Map and their resources. What's your take on the Advice Tech Live conference this year?
Brilliant, efficient, and a must attend for people. One thing with a lot of the tech providers out there, I see their tech, I hear about it, and I think I should do a demo. I got to learn a little more about that. And then the thought goes away because sometimes I'll just meet them at a conference or I'll read an article. to put this together and allow advisors to sit and listen and get exposure to all the different technologies, and then also to the thought leaders like Adam, who actually think about where is this industry going. I love that they put it all together. Tech is what I think really separates good from great advisors, how we leverage tech. That's how you grow your practice, and it's how you become more efficient. And to have a conference that can put this all together and let us see what's out there, great idea.
Yeah. And so they have 20 subject matter experts hosting panels, along with advisors demoing their products in what we call speed demo format on our platform here at Financial Advisor TV. Really another conference where it's a who's who with great advice. And it's my understanding that Michael Kitces and Carl Richards are going to record one of their podcast episodes live during the event. And the bottom line is Advice Tech Live tickets are only $50. So the money goes to a good cause. It's virtual. You don't even have to leave your house. Advicetech.live. That's advicetech.live. All right, Ross, next conference, your conference, Wealth at Work. What's the history behind the Wealth at Work conference?
The short story is we ended up doing regional events for many years as a conference company. We do about 100 a year. We did that for 4 or 5 years. And we just saw the need to bring a lot of the advisors together and the thought leaders on a national stage. And we started with a different approach. We didn't have any big keynote speakers. We didn't pay any big keynote speakers or to bring in people from the outside. We basically just went to all the advisors that we know that have awesome practices, asked them if they wanted to speak. For the most part, they love to share. So we created a conference where the agenda is packed with advisors. They tell you exactly what they do and how they do it. And actually, our agenda has about 50% women on it. So for the financial services industry, that's high. For the 401k world, it takes a lot of work by our team to do that. But putting it together, there are just so many good speakers and advisors out there that love what they do. They have a unique way of approaching, and they're more than happy to share it. And we're in, I think, year 7 now of that conference.
Year 7. Awesome. Again, Las Vegas, October, not a bad place to be. It's going to be the 16th through the 18th, but I'd like to pull the website up and talk about this year's conference lineup and what people will learn when they're there, because this is an all-star panel of speakers.
Yeah, it's a great list. We started this conference and it was called Excel 401k. And 7 years ago, the focus was for a lot of advisors to deliver 401k services. Now, obviously, that has changed over the years. Now, financial wellness is a much more common topic. And when you really look at what's going on in not just the 401k space, but really employer-sponsored plans, they're now delivering financial planning through the worksite. It's not just the 401k, it's helping people pay off student loans, it's insurance services, it's estate planning. They have all these different programs and different ways to connect with participants and employees and help them wherever they're at in life. So the whole industry has really expanded its reach, and we've tried to do that with our conference. So it's much more broad than just 401ks.
Yep. So wealthatwork.live to get your tickets. Ross's team gave me a handful of tickets to give away. I have 3 left. If anybody would like one of those 3, please send me a message on social media and I will give you my code. I only have 3 of those left, so it will be first come, first serve. All right, Ross, the last conference I want to talk about is probably not as well known to our advisor community, but it's hosted by a good friend of ours, Susan Bradley, who runs the Financial Transitionist Institute. She's holding her annual conference this year down in Florida. It's going to be in November, and she's opening up to non-holders of her designation. So I thought it'd be helpful, since you do hold the designation, could you explain a little bit about what the designation entails, the benefits of it, and then what your thoughts are on this year's conference?
The first way I explain being a certified financial transitionist is, to me, it's the Rosetta Stone. And what I mean by that is, for 25 years, I've been an advisor for over 30, really started down this transition path probably 5-6 years ago. You wondered, why do people do what they do? Why are the most important financial decisions in life often the hardest decisions to make? And if people get them wrong, they'll often pay for them for the rest of their lives. This is what happens during life events. And when you go through the financial transitionist program, it gives you an understanding of what people are thinking, how they're feeling, and how that influences their decision making. And understanding that process, I told Susan Bradley years ago that it's like the Rosetta Stone. Now I get it. I understand why people do certain things, how they see things, and why certain things are such a struggle. And that's what this institute does. Now, there's a community. The Financial Transitionist Institute has many planners out there that have achieved the designation. They use it. It may be one of the best communities I've ever seen in the financial services industry. They're tight. They interact. They challenge each other. The conference, it goes on for a few days. It's heavy. I mean, they dive into topics. They do case studies. I remember, I won't go into the story, but I remember one of the first case studies that I did with them. My blood pressure was boiling because it was a real case study, and we were kind of play acting in this little circle. I was getting angry, and I was just playing this person, but I was getting angry. I mean, it was that because it's so real. It was that good, but it really just gives you insight into what I think are the most important financial decisions that clients have to make. And it's in and around life events. And Susan Bradley and her gang, they definitely have insight into it, unlike anybody else I've seen in the industry.
Yeah, they are very passionate as a group about what they do because they are making meaningful change, or more importantly, helping people who are going through change add meaning to that whole process. That conference will be November 7th through the 9th down in West Palm Beach, Florida. Ross, I appreciate you coming on. I love talking about conferences. You and I are both big fans, but I want to wrap with something that is probably really, really important. College football really kicking off this weekend. Who's your team?
Ohio State Buckeyes.
Oh, how did that happen? Oh, you grew up in Ohio.
I did. I grew up in east of Cleveland, Ohio, so I get to cheer for Ohio State, which helps since I grew up as a Cleveland Browns fan. So it gives me some real balance there in the football world.
That's right. That's right. Why couldn't you have grown up a Bengals fan?
Wrong side of the state, but it's okay. I'm back in my Brownies.
There you go. Well, I tell you, it was a big win for Ohio State last week against Notre Dame. My Vols head up to Pittsburgh to play Pittsburgh at home. They beat us in Knoxville last year. We're hoping to return the favor up there. Ross, enjoy your weekend, and thanks for coming on.
Always a pleasure, Jay. Thank you.